start off with you, Barrister Ezeluche. The recent surge in insecurity in Nigeria, the recent killing, some people say for one whole week, that's 7 days, we've been hearing stories of abduction, of killings, and all that happening in Nigeria. What do you have to say about this, given the fact that we have a particular man who should have been a respected individual, though, George Akume, coming up to say that after since the declaration of Nigeria as a country of particular concern, and also Trump's statements that the unscrupulous non-state actors who have been killing Nigerians, terrorizing the whole country, more like they got emboldened to prove a point. What do you make of this, please? Just opposing it with what is happening in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. To briefly respond to George Akume, he's lying. He's lying in the sense that these killings, the kidnappings, abductions across the country has been happening. The only difference now is that with the U.S. Classification of Nigeria as a country of particular concern, journalists now feel free to report on it. Before, there was virtually an embargo on reporting this abduction, these killings. Then when you hear from the eyewitness, those who are on ground in Taraba, Nasarawa, Benue Plateau, they tell you these things have been going on a near daily basis. So the reportage has only increased because of the international attention, and everybody's now trying to get their own story on the front burner. But that's just so. George Akume is lying when he says that there has been an upsurge. This has been happening for quite a while, and Mr. President Bola Tinubu and his entire cabinet have virtually, but they left the whole. They didn't even bother. They didn't bother. If you recollect, it was only after the Pope Louis XIV's homily in the Vatican that Mr. Bola Tinubu visited for the very first time, a scene of mass casualties. That was in Yelewata. Otherwise, people will not even know about what happened in that city or that town, which is less than 5 kilometers from the Makurdi, the Benue State capital. Well, my reaction to what's been going on is this. We have, for too long, hidden realities, and now the realities have come to the fore. We have, from what you just reeled out about what happened in Kebbi State, where Governor Idris is now asking very serious questions. Who redeployed the military less than 30 minutes to the time the terrorists struck? Now, this is not the first time this is happening. In several instances of these attacks, of these mass abductions, the natives, the villagers who were attacked have always said this, that the soldiers, the roadblocks were there, and when they left, less than 30 minutes, 1 hour, or even less than 24 hours after the roadblocks left, the terrorists hit them. Now, that tells you that there's a direct connection, a very direct connection between elements in the military and these terrorist attacks. The mistake is people are thinking that this is the first time it's happened because Governor Idris has mentioned it. No. I've got an eyewitness account of what has happened in various other communities. They said, yes, slightly before the terrorists struck, the roadblocks, the military, and everybody left the scene, only to allow the terrorists to have a field day. With regards to what happened in Niger State, Governor Bago is making he's trying to be clever by half when he says the school did not obey instructions and that is why the thing happened. He should be ashamed of himself. Bago should be ashamed of himself. The reason is this. More than half of Niger State, and I repeat, more than half of Niger State has been under terrorist command and control. Entire local government areas in Niger State pay taxes to these terrorists. And now the governor has the guts, the temerity to come and tell Nigerians that why did the school open because of, despite the government order. Which order is he giving? Where does he command in the state? He only sits down in the state capital and collects allocations without no separation, no reduction. All the local governments in Niger State continue to collect their allocations, despite the fact that about half of the entire state is under the terrorists. So we should be asking Governor Bako, the monies he's been collecting, who does he use it on? Where does this local government chairman in those areas, where do they stay? So we really appreciate the international focus on the terrorism in Nigeria, because it's going to reveal quite a lot of things. It's going to reveal the heartlessness of those who rule over us. It's going to reveal the fact that they are just greedy touts who just go for the funds and they don't even give a damn what happens to the people. Are you there?
Yes, we are here. We can hear you.
Good. Yes, they don't give a damn what happens to the people. Why am I saying this? In the midst of all this crisis, in the midst of all these killings and abductions, the federal government of Nigeria still had the guts to ask NYSC to call up youths to camps. As we are speaking, there are youths in camps in Kebbi, in Makurdi, in Benue State, in all these volatile areas. And the government knows that it is incapable of defending these camps. Yet it asks this student, it asks NYSC to call up youth corpers. So what will happen? And I'm sure they have about 21 days to be in camp. I can bet with anybody that within a couple of days we'll be hearing gory tales about what happened in camps, about kidnappings. This government should be ashamed of itself for not taking Nigerians into consideration. What didn't they stop this call-up, this present call-up? I mean, do they want to sacrifice these students? And then when these students, when these coppers get kidnapped, what do we receive in return? We receive the heartless, tactless message of condolence from Mr. Tinubu, which he does not even write, for goodness sake. Because he can't write it. It's written by characters like Bono and Onuga. They will tell us, oh, how the president is depressed, how he feels the pains of the families, which we know is all nonsense. Because if he was depressed, if Mr. Bola Tinubu felt the pains of the families, what Mr. Bola Tinubu would have done was to ask the NYSC not to call up coppers in the midst of all this insecurity. So the reality is that we are now beginning to see the kind of characters who rule over us. And we mentioned with regards to the visit of the delegation to the United States. I mean, they should be ashamed of themselves.
Okay.
The IGP of police is in that delegation. He controls a police force of over 300,000 policemen. What has he done? He sits down in Abuja with his